Okay, friends and customers of SMR, dear stainless steel community, I'm very pleased to have you here with us for another issue of our stainless steel speed interviews. And today, I must say, we have a really outstanding personality with us, somebody who can tell us about this industry more than anybody else, because we have with us today the biggest, definitely in Europe, but maybe also worldwide, the biggest buyer of stainless steel and the biggest seller of stainless steel. And when I tell you the name, you know immediately who I'm talking about. We have with us Dr. Antonio Marcegaglia. He's the CEO and chairman of Marcegaglia Metals, the company that bears his name, headquartered near Mantua in Italy, but operating globally. Antonio, nice to have you with us.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and good afternoon to everybody.
Okay. Well, to start for the audience a little bit with some numbers, you're buying 500,000 tons or more of stainless steel. You're buying 6 million tons of carbon steel. So these are gigantic numbers here. And you changed a little bit the strategy of the company recently with an acquisition you did, but we come to that later. First, I need to know from this big buyer and seller, what happened in the stainless steel market after first the nickel prices collapsed, and then also, of course, the base prices reacted. So we all knew that we were in a bubble. The price situation from April, May was not sustainable. This is somebody who's long enough in the business knows that. But then this price shock downwards, what did that do to your business on the sales side and on the purchasing side? Can you elaborate a little bit on that and tell us also what you expect until the end of 2022?
Okay, thank you. Quite difficult without a crystal ball to really plan for the future. The volatility of our market has been extremely high. This is already part of our life and will be also for the future. Nevertheless, fundamentals at the end play out. And as you mentioned, Marcos, there was a clear spike of prices, which was also kind of abnormal, driven by positive conjuncture, low interest, stimulus packages, and then the war and the supply chain shocks. The prices have gone up very high, with for sure a clearly speculative elements, especially in Europe. So one of these reason of the big gap compared to other markets, namely Asia, this has created the attempt and the success of purchasing more from import. And this, as usual in stainless steel industry, more than in other industry segment, has driven up stock, physical stock, and even more order book to supplier. So this all of a sudden has brought to a too high inflation and price spike, with the consequences that final demand has been pausing. Many projects has been put on hold, and once the buyers have realized that we were at the peak, very quickly and all of a sudden there was a frozen attitude. Market have completely been stopped, and especially for those segments like flats, where the wave is longer and the lead time was longer, and the stock are higher, typically even more than welded tubes, we had a severe reduction of the purchasing activity and a very strong attempt of purchasing, of reducing the stock dramatically. Mm-hmm. So we are now still in this situation. people are scared and prices is coming down even with limited transaction. I think this is true for my also buying as well as my selling. We see the overall apparent demand being far below the real demand trend, which has been slowing down, but I think it's ready to start again. So I do believe that as we approach the bottom of this price curve, we will see, and personally also believe that even the nickel price will not go further low, but I think we will see demand starting back again, and maybe slower for flat, quicker and sooner for tubes. But in general, I am expecting from September a recovery of the apparent demand and a little bit more active positioning of the buyer in the market, which will not be booming, but slowly but consistently we will go back to normality. So Q4 particularly, I do expect a more normalized level of activity at the price level that in general will be much lower than the peak. We already are decreasing significantly from there. Maybe there is a little room more, but I think that after that price may even go up a little bit again, and for sure the stable level will be higher than before.
Okay. In short, the third quarter, forget it. That will be a relatively bad quarter. But in the fourth quarter, there's some normalization. That's what you expect. And I hope you're right, because we will have our conference in September in Hamburg, where we see you as well. And I hope that by then there is some first upward movements then again. Thank you very much. Second question, and now we are coming to that really big news that your company was producing only a few weeks ago, when it was announced that you are in the process now of buying Outokumpu's long product division, with the exception of one small plant in Sweden, but the rest you are taking over, including the melt shop in Sheffield. Now, the question for me and many people are, what was the main driver for you doing this? Were you looking for a melt shop in order to reduce your purchasing risk of slabs and on the flat side? Or was the main driver really to increase your position in the stainless steel long product market? Because Marcegaglia is also one of the biggest bright bar producers for stainless steels. So what was the main reason why you did this acquisition, which is over 200 million? So it's also quite a significant M&A situation. Okay.
Yes, I think so. I think it's also quite important acquisition, especially considering the conjuncture, the uncertainty from geopolitically, and now also from the Italian government point of view, so the specific political, but we're looking forward and beyond the short term, of course, when you do such a move. Yes, you mentioned 2 out of the 3 main reasons, and so I will confirm and make some color out of these 2 and give a third one, why we have been interested, and we, with low profile, but also with a quite dedicated and active process in a relatively short period of time, sign this agreement with Outokumpu that now is subject to antitrust, which we do not expect to be, at least from the numbers, should not be an issue. There is basically no overlapping, and there are some other completion activity to be done. So we expect to close by the end of the year. So the first reason is, in fact, the willingness to grow and add horizontally to our presence in the flat and in the welded tubes segment, including the bars, the flat bars, to enhance our drone bars and long products presence, which is relatively small. It's around 25 to 30,000 ton in a year, only cold rolling activity. We have thought that within the Marcegaglia portfolio, the specialties portion and the stainless steel portion could be enhanced not only by an internal growth of the flat and the tubes, but also by adding long products to our offering and our range of products. So there is a genuine ambition to be a player in the long products, to expand our portfolio and our relationship, especially in Europe, and also by adding a presence in the United States, maybe for also future development there of all the range. So the first reason is to complete our presence, which is already quite unique in our range, with the long product segment. And it's a nice combination because Outokumpu, on the other side, wanted to focus more on the flat, and the long product was no more of a strategic priority. Mm-hmm. But the second reason, which is also the news in our history and strategy of Marcegaglia, is to become also a small steel makers, and having, in addition to the existing production of semis in Sheffield, also to potentially add up by using the capacity which is currently not used for another 2 to 250, for a total of close to 500,000 tons. We will be producing slabs for our own downstream by having high rolling agreement. Some of them are in place, some other are also under discussion. We will provide our own hot roll coils black, starting from electrical furnace in a country which has abundance of scrap, and in an environment which is supporting the industry and has competence and history for stainless steel. So why we did that? Because number one, we think we are quite big and we want to grow further, and having a too big dependency on third parties, also considering the potential move of other players in Europe which are aiming to more downstream. I'm referring to AST, for example. But in general, there is no large abundance of hot roll coils black in Europe. So by growing further with the supply chain and also other reason, the third one I will mention in a second, we thought that it would be good to be partially integrated. This is not a total change. We remain substantially a re-roller with flexibility and reactivity. By adding a portion of partial integration in the upstream is an additional safety and strong support, both in terms of cost, competitiveness, and guarantee of supply for the future. The third and last reason is that in view of the green transition and the Scope 3 CO2 footprint, we believe that having a control of our own production from electrical furnace within Europe, even if UK is not technically Europe, but in European terms, large European terms, and less dependence from import, more, let me say, invasive CO2 footprint is a plus, and it's in line with the company target. So this sustainability reason, whereby Outokumpu is the leader of sustainability in stainless steel, is also a third and also important reason for our choice.
Okay, that's true and interesting, and it's a known fact that you were buying quite some big volumes from Asia in the past, and some of those were produced mainly from nickel pig iron, which at the moment is very high in CO2. No? But I heard yesterday from somebody from Jingsan that they are building the biggest solar park in the world now, and they want to power this enormous facility they have in Indonesia with solar power in the future. So they also know that if they want to have access to markets like Europe or North America, they will have to do something in their production system. Okay. Thank you. I think also who is very happy are the people from Sheffield, because from all the others who wanted to buy this Outokumpu division would have, you know, the Sheffield probably would have had a rather uncertain future. Yeah? And now with you in your group, it's almost certain that Sheffield will not only remain, but probably will even get some investments. I think you probably need a new continuous caster and things like that, you know. So, okay.
Absolutely, we want to expand in Sheffield, yes.
One last question is now, and this is not stainless related, but you know, are you changing now the mantra of your father? Because the, let's say, carbon steel is 10 times bigger than stainless steel for Marcegaglia, and so far you're still buying from sources that you had many years, etc., in Europe, outside Europe, etc. Can we expect that Marcegaglia is also looking to do something on the melt side for carbon steel, also under the environmental aspect, probably?
Okay, first of all, let me say that I'm not changing the mantra of my father, because my father was really willing since ever as a dream to realize some kind of melting shop and becoming a steel maker as well. So I'm on the opposite, trying to realize this dream. But having said that, sorry, we are not changing fundamentally the nature of our business model and the role of a major first and second transformation player in the industry. And first of all, because this business model has proven to be successful in time, and we believe that it's even more true now with the big changes that the industry in steelmaking will have to face due to the green transition particularly, and the reduction of CO2. On the other end, though, we cannot ignore some significant trends that in the industry are happening and will definitely change the scenario. And for being a protagonist and a real actor in this, we need to take that into consideration. I'm referring to the regionalization of the market due to more protectionist measure and the supply chain getting shorter, as well as the CO2 and green transition, which I already mentioned, whereby Europe wants to be far ahead of others and driving these changes with specific rules. And last but not least, the volatility, the uncertainties, and the different change in considering availability, value, positioning in the value chain. So basically, we believe that having more options and more flexibility, including some partial upstream options, is a plus. So we don't want to change this fundamentally, but adding, including for carbon steel, some option in the upstream could be a possibility. We have already invested in H2 green steel, where we will have an offtake of at least 200,000 tons in 2025, when the mill will start. It's a project in Sweden, the real true green steel melt shop. So we have already a piece of that. We are also considering some other potential either joint venture or direct investment or industrial structural agreement to have somehow a little more stability for the upstream. There are no yet decision made except for the H2 green steel, but we are considering options whereby, again, without changing the nature of our business, I'm not thinking to cover 5 million tons with our melt shop out of my 6 million, but a portion of that could be eventually to consider in our strategy for the region that I mentioned.
Okay, so in short, if somebody has a competitive green melt shop somewhere in Europe, he should call you, you know. So that is that's quite a story, but it's understandable, and the timing is perfect with this green transition, you know. And also blast furnaces, they have 3, 4, 5, 6 million tons, yeah. But a blast furnace in the future will not be an option anymore. And then we are talking, in any case, a smaller unit, which could be electric arc furnace based, no? Or DRI or something like that. Okay. Antonio, thank you very much. Time flies extremely when you speak to somebody of your caliber, so to speak. Thanks for taking the time. I look forward to see you after the summer, and then we can check whether your predictions and your forecasts were as good as they are usually when we meet in mid-September in Hamburg, hopefully at cooler temperatures as they are at the moment. Yeah. And I know particularly where you are, it's extremely hot. Okay, thanks Antonio for taking the time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me, and have a good day. Bye-bye now.
Bye.